The rain hammered against the bulletproof windows of the penthouse as Baek Do-yoon stared at the security footage for the 100th time that night. 7 years. 7 years of searching, of dead ends, of wondering if she had been nothing more than a beautiful ghost who slipped through his fingers. His second-in-command, Park Yeon-woo, entered silently. "Boss, there's been a development." Do-yoon didn't turn from the window. "If it's not about her, I don't want to hear it." "It is about her." Yeon-woo's voice carried an edge Do-yoon had never heard before. "She's back in Seattle, at Providence Hospital, but, boss..." He paused, and Do-yoon finally turned to face him. "She's not alone. There's a child with her, a boy, about 6 years old." Do-yoon's blood ran cold. "Show me." The photograph Yeon-woo pulled up made the powerful crime lord's breath catch in his throat. A beautiful woman with rich brown skin and determined eyes, the same woman who had haunted his dreams for 7 years. And beside her, holding her hand, stood a small boy who looked exactly like Do-yoon had at that age. "Find out everything," Do-yoon commanded, his voice deadly calm. "And get me that hospital room number. Now." Yvonne Martinez pressed her forehead against her mother's hospital room door, fighting back tears she couldn't afford to shed. Not here. Not now. Not when Julian was watching with those 2 perceptive eyes that saw everything. "Mama?" His small hand tugged at her jacket. "Is Grandma Evelyn going to be okay?" She knelt down, cupping his face, that beautiful face that was becoming more like his father's every single day. "Grandma's strong, baby. The doctors are doing everything they can. Everything they could. As long as Yvonne could pay for it." The experimental treatment Evelyn needed cost more than Yvonne made in 2 years of working double shifts at the diner in Portland. Coming back to Seattle had been her last option, her only option. She just hadn't expected the city to feel like it was suffocating her the moment she crossed the city limits. "Miss Martinez," a nurse approached, clipboard in hand. "We need to discuss your mother's treatment plan and the outstanding balance." Yvonne's stomach twisted. "Can I have until tomorrow? I'm working on the payment." The nurse's expression was sympathetic but firm. "I'm sorry, but without insurance or a significant payment, we can only provide basic care. The specialist she needs." "I understand." Yvonne's voice was steady even as her world crumbled. "I'll figure it out." As the nurse walked away, Yvonne felt Julian's hand slip into hers. "Don't worry, Mama. I've been saving my allowance." Her heart shattered. At 6 years old, her son was trying to save her. "Baby, you keep your money. Mama's got this handled." But she didn't. And there was only one person in Seattle with the kind of resources she needed. The same person she'd spent 7 years running from. "Yvonne, oh my God, Yvonne!" She turned to see Latoya Green rushing down the hospital corridor, her best friend's face a mixture of shock and joy. They'd kept in touch sporadically over the years, but Yvonne had never told Latoya the real reason she left Seattle. "Toya." Yvonne accepted the fierce hug, feeling some of the tension leave her shoulders. Latoya pulled back, her eyes immediately dropping to Julian. "And who is this handsome young man?" "I'm Julian," he said confidently, extending his hand. "I'm 6 3/4. "Well, Julian, you are one polite little man." Latoya shook his hand solemnly, but her eyes were asking Yvonne 1,000 questions. "Toya, can you watch Julian for a few minutes? I need to make some calls." "Of course." Latoya's expression turned serious. "But Yvonne, we need to talk. There are things you need to know about Seattle, about who controls what now." "I know who controls Seattle." Yvonne's voice was quiet. "That's why I stayed away for 7 years." Outside the hospital, Yvonne pulled out the phone she'd been avoiding using. Before she could make the call, a sleek black SUV pulled up to the curb. The back door opened, and a man in an immaculate suit stepped out. Park Yeon-woo looked exactly as she remembered, cold, efficient, and completely loyal to his boss. "Miss Martinez." His voice was neutral. "Mr. Baek would like to speak with you." Yvonne's heart hammered in her chest. "I haven't called him yet. How did he—" "Mr. Baek has been monitoring all Seattle hospitals for 7 years, waiting for you to return. He knew the moment you checked your mother into Providence." "Of course he did." Baek Do-yoon hadn't become the most powerful man in Seattle's underworld by missing details. "I can't leave my son. Your friend Miss Green will ensure the child is safe. You have my word." Yvonne glanced back at the hospital, seeing Latoya and Julian through the glass doors. Julian was laughing at something Latoya said, momentarily carefree. This was what she'd wanted for him: safety, normalcy, distance from the world of violence and power that had terrified her 7 years ago, but that world had found them anyway. Fine. Yvonne climbed into the SUV, her spine straight with false courage. Let's get this over with. The drive through Seattle's rain-slicked streets took 20 minutes, but it felt like hours. The vehicle pulled into an underground garage beneath one of Seattle's most exclusive buildings. Yvonne had served drinks in the building's ground floor bar 7 years ago, back when she was putting herself through nursing school. The elevator rose in silence. When the doors opened directly into a penthouse, Yvonne's breath caught. The space was all floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Seattle skyline, modern furniture in blacks and greys, and an atmosphere of controlled power. And standing at the window, his back to her, was Baek Do-yoon. He'd changed. His shoulders were broader, his presence even more commanding. He wore a perfectly tailored black suit, and even from behind, Yvonne could feel the intensity radiating from him. 7 years, he said without turning around. His voice was deeper than she remembered, edged with something dark and dangerous. 7 years, Yvonne, no note, no explanation. You vanished like smoke. I had my reasons. Her voice didn't shake, even though her hands did. He turned then, and Yvonne's heart stopped. Time had been impossibly kind to Baek Do-yoon. At 35, he was even more devastating than he'd been at 28. His face was all sharp angles and intense eyes, his black hair styled perfectly. But it was his expression that made her blood run cold. Controlled fury barely held in check. Your reasons. He moved toward her with predatory grace. Were my resources not good enough to find you? Did you really think you could hide from me forever? I wasn't hiding from you, I was building a life. In Portland, working 2 jobs, living in a 1-bedroom apartment. He stopped 3 feet away, close enough that she could smell his cologne. I know everything about your life, Yvonne. Everything except why you left. Because I didn't belong in your world. The words tumbled out. One night, Do-yoon. We had one night. That didn't give you ownership of my life. Something flashed in his eyes. Pain, quickly buried beneath ice. One night that meant nothing to you. I didn't say that. Then what? He stepped closer, his voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. Explain to me why the woman who looked at me like I was more than a monster disappeared without a trace. Yvonne's resolve wavered. I'm not here to explain the past. I'm here because I need help. Your mother's illness. The experimental treatment cost $300,000. Your insurance won't cover it. You're already $50,000 in debt from previous medical bills. You've been thorough. I've been obsessed. The admission was raw, honest. 7 years of searching, wondering, driving myself insane trying to understand what I did wrong. I need your help. I'm asking for a loan. I'll pay you back every cent. Do-yoon studied her for a long moment. No. Her heart sank. Please, Do-yoon. My mother, I'll pay for everything. All her medical bills, the treatment, whatever she needs. His eyes bored into hers. But I want the truth, Yvonne. All of it. Starting with the boy I saw in the hospital security footage. The boy who looks exactly like me. The world tilted. You saw Julian. Is he mine? The question hung in the air between them, heavy with 7 years of secrets and lies. Yvonne's throat constricted. Yes. The word was barely a whisper. Julian is your son. Do-yoon's expression didn't change, but something happened behind his eyes. A flash of emotions too complex to name. He turned away from her, his hand coming up to his face. For a long moment, he said nothing. When he spoke again, his voice was deadly calm. You kept my son from me for 6 years. I was protecting him. From what? Do-yoon spun back to face her, and now the fury was there, blazing. From having a father. From being safe. From this. Yvonne gestured at the penthouse, at him. From your world, Do-yoon. You think I don't know what you do? Who you are. And yet you slept with me anyway. The words stung because they were true. That was before I knew I was pregnant. Before I had to make impossible choices. You made the choice for both of us. Do-yoon's voice was ice. You decided I wasn't worthy of knowing my own child. I decided my son wouldn't grow up surrounded by violence and danger. And how's that working out for you? Do-yoon's smile was cruel. You're broke, your mother's dying, and you came crawling back to the monster you ran from. The words were a slap. Yvonne felt tears prick her eyes, but refused to let them fall. I came here for help, not judgment. You'll get both. Do-Yun moved to the bar and poured himself whiskey. Here are my terms. I'll pay for everything. Your mother's treatment, your debts, all of it. In return, you and Julian move into this building, under my protection. Absolutely not. Those are my terms. He took a drink, his eyes never leaving hers. Non-negotiable. I won't let you use my mother's illness to force. Do-Yun set down his glass with controlled precision. Let me be very clear, Yvonne. You kept my son from me for 6 years. The only reason I'm not taking him right now is because he doesn't know me, and I won't traumatize a child. But make no mistake, Julian is my son, and I will be part of his life. The question is whether we do this cooperatively or through courts and lawyers. Yvonne's mind raced. He was right. She had no legal leg to stand on. If I agree, I have conditions too. I'm listening. Julian's safety comes first. Always. No exposure to your business, no dangerous situations. I would never put my son in danger. What else? I want to tell him about you myself, in my own time, my own way. You have 1 week. That's not enough. 1 week, Yvonne. Or I tell him myself. Do-Yun's expression softened slightly. I'm not trying to take him from you, but he has a right to know his father, and I have a right to know my son. Yvonne closed her eyes. Okay, 1 week. Good. Do-Yun pulled out his phone. Yunwoo will arrange for your mother's transfer to Seattle Presbyterian. I'll have an apartment prepared in this building by tomorrow. Just like that? Just like that. He looked at her, and for a moment she saw a glimpse of the man she'd known 7 years ago. Despite what you think, Yvonne, I'm not your enemy, I never was. Then what are you? The father of your child, and the man who never stopped looking for you. He moved closer, his presence overwhelming. Go back to your son. Tell him his grandmother will have the best care available. And Yvonne? His hand came up, his fingers barely brushing her cheek. This conversation isn't over, not by a long shot. When Yvonne returned to the hospital, Julian was asleep in LaToya's arms. Her son, her beautiful, innocent son who was about to have his entire world turned upside down. Girl, you better start talking. LaToya's voice was low, but urgent. That was Park Yunwoo who picked you up. Which means you met with Baek Do-Yun? Yes, Julian is Do-Yun's son. LaToya's jaw dropped. The Baek Do-Yun? The man who runs half of Seattle's underground? I didn't know who he really was when we met. By the time I figured it out, I was already pregnant. And now? Now he knows about Julian, and he wants to be part of his life. Yvonne's voice cracked. I have 1 week to tell Julian the truth before Do-Yun does it himself. LaToya was quiet for a moment. For what it's worth, Yvonne, I think you should tell him. That boy asks about his father constantly. He does. All the time. He sees other kids with dads and asks why he doesn't have one. LaToya's expression was gentle. Maybe Do-Yun isn't perfect, but Julian deserves to know his father. The next morning, Yvonne watched as her mother was transferred to Seattle Presbyterian Hospital's VIP wing. Suddenly, Evelyn had a private suite, a team of specialists, and a treatment plan that the doctors called promising. Baby, how did you afford all this? Evelyn asked weakly. I got help, Mom. What kind of help? I called Julian's father. The silence that followed was deafening. The one you ran from 7 years ago. Yes. He wants to be part of Julian's life. He wants us to move into his building under his protection. Evelyn studied her daughter's face. Maybe it's time to stop running, baby. Maybe it's time to see what kind of man Julian's father really is. That afternoon, Yvonne and Julian moved into the luxury apartment Do-Yun had arranged. It was on the 20th floor with 3 bedrooms and a view that made Julian press his nose against the glass in wonder. Mama, are we rich now? Julian asked, his eyes wide. No, baby. We're just staying here temporarily while Grandma gets better. That evening, Yvonne stood in front of her closet, preparing for dinner with Do-Yun. She settled on a simple black dress, the only nice thing she owned. When the elevator opened to the penthouse, Do-Yun was waiting. He'd changed into dark slacks and a white dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up. He looked younger, more approachable, and infinitely more dangerous to her peace of mind. You came. He sounded surprised. Did I have a choice? Everyone has choices, Yvonne. He gestured to the dining table, which was set with Korean food. I hope you're hungry. The table was laden with dishes, bulgogi, kimchi, japchae. You cooked all this? Don't sound so shocked. My mother insisted I learn traditional cooking. She said a man who couldn't feed himself was no man at all. Your mother sounds wise. She was. She died when I was 15. I'm sorry. It was a long time ago, but his voice carried old pain. Sit. Eat. We have much to discuss. The food was incredible. Do-Yun watched her, his expression unreadable. Tell me about Julian, he said finally. Everything. From the beginning. What do you want to know? Everything. When was he born? What was his first word? What does he like? Do-Yun's voice was intense. I've missed 6 years of my son's life. Give me something. The raw need in his voice cracked something in Yvonne's chest. He was born on February 14th, Valentine's Day, 7 pounds 3 ounces. His first word was mama. He was 10 months old. He loves dinosaurs, especially velociraptors. He's obsessed with space and wants to be an astronaut. He hates broccoli but loves Brussels sprouts. He's smart, scary smart. His teachers say he reads at a 4th grade level. Like his mother. I dropped out of nursing school when I got pregnant. Couldn't afford childcare and tuition. You should have come to me. And said what, Do-Yun? Hi, remember that one-night stand? Surprise, you're going to be a father? Yes, exactly that. I would have taken care of you, both of you. I didn't want to be taken care of. I wanted to be safe. You think I would have hurt you? Hurt our child? I think your world is dangerous. I think people who get close to you end up as collateral damage. Am I wrong? Do-Yun was quiet. No, you're not wrong. My world is dangerous. People have died because of me. But Yvonne... He leaned forward. I would burn this entire city to the ground before I let anything happen to you or Julian. You are not collateral damage. You are everything. The words hung between them, heavy with meaning. Yvonne's heart hammered. You don't even know me, she whispered. I know that 7 years ago you looked at me like I was human instead of a monster. I know that you're raising our son alone, working yourself to exhaustion. I know that you came back even though it terrified you, because you'd do anything for your mother. His hand reached across the table, covering hers. I know enough. Yvonne pulled her hand back. This can't happen, Do-Yun. Whatever you think you feel, don't tell me what I feel. His voice was dangerous. I've spent 7 years trying to forget you and failing. Every woman I met, I compared to you. I did think about you. Every time I looked at Julian, every time he smiled your smile. Then give me a chance, Yvonne. Give us a chance. There is no us. There's just 2 people trying to co-parent. Do-Yun stood abruptly, pulling her to her feet, his hands on her shoulders. You're lying. I can see it in your eyes. Whatever was between us 7 years ago, it's still there. That doesn't matter. I won't let Julian grow up in your world. Then I'll change my world. The words were fierce. I'll do whatever it takes, but I won't lose you again. I won't lose him. Before Yvonne could respond, Do-Yun's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his expression changed instantly. All business, all danger. We have a situation. He was already moving toward his office. Yeon-woo, report. Yvonne watched as he disappeared, leaving her standing alone, her heart racing. This was exactly what she'd feared, the sudden shift from human to crime lord. But God help her, it was getting harder to remember why she'd run in the first place. 3 days passed in a strange kind of limbo. Yvonne spent her mornings at the hospital with Evelyn, whose condition was finally stabilizing. Her afternoons were spent with Julian. She hadn't seen Do-Yun since their dinner, though she felt his presence everywhere. Fresh groceries appeared in her apartment. Julian's favorite dinosaur books mysteriously showed up. On the 4th day, there was a knock at the door. She opened it to find Do-Yun standing there, looking uncertain in a way she'd never seen before. Is Julian home? He asked. He's in his room, playing. Do-Yun? I haven't told him yet. I'm not here to tell him. I just want to meet him. As your friend, not his father. Not yet. She should say no, but the vulnerability in his expression undid her. Okay, but if he gets uncomfortable, I'll leave immediately. I promise. Yvonne led him to Julian's room, where her son was building a spaceship out of blocks. Julian, baby, there's someone I want you to meet. Julian looked up and his eyes widened. For a long moment, the man and the boy just stared at each other. You're really tall, Julian said finally. Do-Yun's lips quirked. You'll be tall too someday. Are you Mama's friend? I am. My name is Do-Yun. Your Mama and I knew each other a long time ago. Julian studied him. You look like someone. Like Tony Stark. From Iron Man. You have the same serious face. Are you a superhero too? Do-Yun's expression softened. I'm not a superhero, but I do try to protect people I care about. That's what superheroes do. Julian pointed to his blocks. Do you want to help me build? I'm making a rocket to Mars. Yvonne expected Do-Yun to make an excuse. Instead, he knelt down beside Julian. I think Mars is too small a goal. Let's aim for Jupiter. Jupiter is a gas giant. You can't land on it. Then we'll need to build a floating station here if we use these blocks. Yvonne watched in amazement as Do-Yun sat on the floor with their son, seriously discussing space exploration. Julian was completely at ease while Do-Yun listened with an attention that suggested Julian's words were the most important thing he'd ever heard. 2 hours later, they'd built an entire Mars colony. Mr. Do-Yun, will you come back tomorrow? Julian asked. We need to build the communication tower. Do-Yun glanced at Yvonne, a question in his eyes. She found herself nodding. I'd like that, Do-Yun said. If your mama says it's okay. It's okay, Julian assured him. Mama likes you, I can tell. Yvonne felt heat rise to her cheeks as Do-Yun's eyes found hers, something warm and dangerous in their depths. When Julian was in bed, Yvonne walked Do-Yun to the door. Thank you, she said quietly, for being good with him. He's incredible, Yvonne. Smart, curious, kind. You've done an amazing job raising him. He asked about his father again last night, wanted to know if his dad didn't want him. Pain flashed across Do-Yun's face. Tell him the truth, that his father didn't know he existed, but now that he does, nothing in the world could keep him away. It's not that simple. Yes, it is. Do-Yun cupped her face. Stop overthinking this. Julian deserves to know his father. I deserve to know my son. And you deserve to stop carrying this burden alone. He leaned down and pressed a soft kiss to her forehead. Good night. I'll be back tomorrow. The next 2 days fell into a pattern. Do-Yun would arrive in the late afternoon, and he and Julian would build, play, and talk. Yvonne watched as her son blossomed under the attention. She also watched Do-Yun transform. With Julian, the dangerous crime lord became someone softer, more patient. He answered endless questions. He listened to Julian's rambling stories with genuine interest, and slowly, insidiously, Yvonne felt herself falling for him all over again. On the 6th evening, as Do-Yun was about to leave, Julian surprised them both. Mr. Do-Yun, can you read me a bedtime story? Do-Yun looked at Yvonne, who nodded. She followed them to Julian's room, watching as Do-Yun settled into the chair beside Julian's bed. Once upon a time, Do-Yun read, his voice taking on a storytelling cadence, in a kingdom far away. Halfway through the story, Julian interrupted. Mr. Do-Yun, do you have a little boy? Do-Yun's eyes met Yvonne's. What makes you ask that? Because you're really good at being a dad, like really good. I'd like to think I could be a good dad if I had the chance. Would you be my dad? The words hung in the air, innocent and devastating. Yvonne's breath caught. Do-Yun set the book down slowly. Julian, that's a big question. I know, but I've been thinking about it. You look like me. Everyone says so. And you like the same things I like. And Mama smiles different when you're here. Julian, there's something your Mama and I need to tell you. He glanced at Yvonne, who nodded, tears streaming down her face. I am your dad. I have been all along. Your Mama and I just had some grown-up things to figure out first. Julian's eyes went wide. Really? You're really my dad? Really? I didn't know about you until a few days ago, but, Julian, if I had known, nothing in the world could have kept me away. Why didn't Mama tell you? Because she was protecting you. My life is complicated, sometimes dangerous. Your Mama wanted to keep you safe. Julian processed this. But we're safe now, right? Because Dad can protect us? The word Dad made Do-Yun's breath catch visibly. We're safe, Yvonne confirmed. Okay then. Julian threw his arms around Do-Yun's neck. I'm glad you're my dad. I always wanted a dad who looked like me. Do-Yun's arms came around his son, and Yvonne saw his shoulders shake slightly. I'm glad too, son. More than you'll ever know. That night, after Julian was asleep, Yvonne stopped Do-Yun at the door. Thank you for handling that so well. I didn't do anything. Our son is incredible. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. I should go. Do-Yun, wait. What's wrong? He turned to face her fully. I want more, Yvonne. I want you. I want us to be a family, not just co-parents. But I know that's not what you want. So I'll take what I can get. How do you know what I want? Because you've made it clear. Yvonne stepped closer. That was before I watched you with Julian. Before I saw the kind of father you could be. Before I remembered why I fell for you in the first place. Hope flickered in Do-yun's eyes. Yvonne, I'm not saying everything is perfect. I'm still scared. But maybe we can figure it out together. Do-yun's hands came up to frame her face. I will spend every day proving you made the right choice. Then he was kissing her, and it was like coming home. His lips were gentle but insistent. 7 years of longing pouring into the kiss. Yvonne melted into him. When they finally broke apart, Do-yun rested his forehead against hers. Stay tonight, Yvonne whispered. Not in my bed, just stay. Watch a movie with me, talk to me. Okay. They settled on the couch and talked until the early hours. About his childhood in Seoul. About how he'd ended up in Seattle. About her dreams of finishing nursing school. About Julian's future. Yvonne fell asleep on his shoulder, feeling safer than she had in 7 years. Do-yun stayed awake, his arm around her, and felt something he'd thought lost forever. Hope. Neither of them noticed the car parked across the street, or the man inside taking photographs. Yvonne woke to find herself alone on the couch, a blanket tucked around her. She smelled coffee and heard movement in the kitchen. She found Do-yun making breakfast, already dressed in a suit. He looked up as she entered, and his expression softened. Good morning. I made pancakes. Julian mentioned they were his favorite. You made pancakes. The feared crime lord makes pancakes. This feared crime lord also makes excellent kimchi jjigae. He plated the pancakes. My mother's influence runs deep. Dad! Julian burst into the kitchen. He stopped short. Can I call you Dad now? Do-yun's eyes glistened. Please do. Julian launched himself at Do-yun, who caught him easily. Yvonne's heart swelled watching them. The moment was shattered by Do-yun's phone. His expression changed as he read the message, hardening. I have to go. He set Julian down. Yeonwoo will be here in 5 minutes. Don't leave the building today. What's wrong? Yvonne asked. Nothing you need to worry about. Just stay inside. Please. He kissed Julian's forehead, then pulled Yvonne close and kissed her deeply. I'll be back tonight. Keep your phone on. Then he was gone, leaving Yvonne with a bad feeling. Hours later, that feeling proved justified. Latoya arrived, her face pale. Girl, you need to see this. She pulled out her phone, showing Yvonne photographs posted on a gossip blog. The photos showed Do-yun with Yvonne and Julian. The headline read, Seattle's most dangerous man has a secret family. Oh, God. Julian's face is in these. There's more. Latoya scrolled to another article. Min Dae-ho's organization is claiming Do-yun has gone soft. They're saying he's vulnerable now. Who is Min Dae-ho? Do-yun's biggest rival. They've been at each other's throats for years. This changes everything. Yvonne's phone rang. Do-yun's name flashed on the screen. Are you safe? His voice was tight with controlled fury. We're fine. We haven't left the apartment. Good. Yeonwoo is on his way up with additional security. Do-yun, what's happening? Min Dae-ho is making moves. The photos gave him an opening. He thinks you and Julian are my weakness. Are we? Yes. You're also my strength. But he doesn't understand that. What are you going to do? Whatever it takes to keep you both safe. His voice softened. Yvonne, I need you to trust me. Can you do that? She thought about the man who'd sat on the floor building spaceships. Yes, I trust you. Good. I'll be home soon. But he wasn't. Hours passed with no word. Yvonne tried to keep Julian distracted. Is Dad okay? Julian asked as she tucked him in. Your dad is fine, baby. He just has work to handle. Dangerous work? Yvonne hesitated. She'd promised herself no lies. Sometimes, but your dad is very good at what he does. Will he come back? Always. Your dad will always come back to us. She hoped she was right. At midnight, the elevator doors opened. Do-yun emerged, his suit rumpled, his knuckles bruised, a cut above his eyebrow. Oh my God! She rushed to him. What happened? Min Dae-ho sent a message. I sent one back. His voice was cold. It's handled. That's not an answer. Do-yun, you're hurt. I'm fine. He caught her hands. Yvonne, things are going to escalate. I need you and Julian somewhere safe. What are you saying? I'm saying you should leave Seattle. Take Julian somewhere Min Dae-ho can't find you. No. Yvonne's voice was firm. We're not running again. Yvonne, be reasonable. I am being reasonable. Julian just found out he has a father. You think I'm going to take him away now? She stepped closer. We're a family, Do-yeon. That means we face this together. You don't understand what you're asking. Then explain it to me. Stop trying to protect me from your world and let me in. Do-yeon stared at her. Then, slowly, he nodded. Okay, but not here. First, we need to secure our position. What does that mean? It means Min Dae-ho made a mistake. He threatened my family. And in my world, that kind of mistake is fatal. The coldness in his voice should have scared her. Instead, Yvonne felt fierce protectiveness surge through her. Tell me what you need from me. Do-yeon's expression shifted to something like awe. You continue to amaze me, Yvonne Martinez. I'm serious. If we're really going to be a family, then I need to understand your world. Then tomorrow, you meet my people. You see exactly what I do, and then you decide if you can live with it. I've already decided. I'm not going anywhere. Neither is Julian. Do-yeon's kiss was fierce, claiming. Together then. But if things go wrong, I need you to promise you'll do exactly what Yeonwoo tells you. I promise. Good. He glanced toward Julian's room. Can I stay tonight? I need to be near you both. To know you're safe. You don't have to ask. This is your home too. That night Do-yeon checked on Julian 3 times, standing in the doorway with an expression of fierce protectiveness. Yvonne found him there during the 3rd check and slipped her hand into his. He's safe, she whispered. For now. But Min Dae-ho won't stop. Then we make sure it's him. Do-yeon looked at her. You don't know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying. Julian deserves to grow up with both his parents. I won't let anyone take that away. She gripped his hand tighter. Whatever you need to do, I'm with you. He pulled her into his arms, burying his face in her hair. I don't deserve you. Probably not. But you're stuck with me anyway. The next morning, Yvonne woke to a note on her pillow. Had to handle something. Yeonwoo will bring you to me this afternoon. Wear something that shows you're mine. D. The possessiveness made her pulse race. She chose a deep burgundy dress. When Yeonwoo arrived, she caught a flicker of approval. Where are we going? To one of Mr. Beck's legitimate businesses. He wants you to see that side first. And Julian? Already with his father. Mr. Beck is introducing his son to key personnel. The drive took them to a sleek office building downtown. The entire top floor was dedicated to Do-yeon's import-export business. In the center, Do-yeon stood with Julian on his hip, introducing their son to employees. And this is Julian, Do-yeon was saying. My son. Anyone who wishes to maintain their position here will treat him with the respect he deserves. Julian waved shyly, then spotted Yvonne. Mama, Dad showed me his office. Do-yeon's arm wrapped around her waist, pulling her against his side. The gesture was possessive, public, intentional. Everyone, Do-yeon announced. I'd like you to meet Yvonne Martinez, Julian's mother. She and Julian are under my protection. The message was clear. As the day progressed, Yvonne saw a different side of Do-yeon. His employees were respectful but also efficient and professional. The business seemed legitimate. This is your cover, she said when they were alone in his office. This is my legitimate business. 70% of my operations are legal, Yvonne. I'm not just a criminal. I built an empire, yes, but I did it smart. And the other 30%? Protection, information, control of certain sensitive markets. He met her eyes. I won't lie. Some of what I do crosses lines, but I have rules. No drugs, no human trafficking, nothing that hurts innocence. That's quite a rationalization. That's the truth. Seattle's underworld exists whether I control it or not. At least with me in charge there are boundaries. Min Dae-ho doesn't have rules. And that's who's threatening us now. Yes, but not for much longer. That evening, as they returned to the apartment, Julian chattered excitedly. Dad let me sit in his big chair. When Julian was out of earshot, Do-yeon turned to Yvonne. We have a problem. Lim Hyung-jun, one of my men, has been feeding information to Min Dae-ho. What does that mean? It means Min Dae-ho knows more than he should, including where you and Julian are. Yvonne's blood ran cold. What do we do? I'm handling Lim, but you and Julian need to move. Tonight. To my penthouse. It's the most secure location I have. Okay, I'll pack. Do-yun pulled her close. I won't let anything happen to you. Either of you. I know. As they moved to the penthouse that night, Julian sleepy in Do-yun's arms, Yvonne felt the weight of her decision. She'd chosen this life, this man, this dangerous world. She just hoped they all survived long enough to enjoy it. The attack came 3 days later, in the middle of the night. Yvonne woke to shouting and breaking glass. Before she could process what was happening, Do-yun was there pulling her from the bed. Get Julian now, take him to the safe room. What's happening? Min Dae-ho sent men. Go, now. Yvonne ran to Julian's room, scooping up her terrified son. It's okay, baby. We're playing a game. We need to get to the special room. The safe room was behind a false wall in Do-yun's office. As soon as they were inside, the steel door sealing behind them, Yvonne heard gunfire. Julian buried his face in her chest, trembling. Mama, I'm scared. I know, baby. But Dad is going to keep us safe. She tried to sound confident, but her own heart was hammering. She could hear muffled sounds, shouts, crashes, more gunfire. Minutes felt like hours, then silence. Yvonne held Julian tighter, waiting, praying. When the safe room door opened, she nearly sobbed with relief. Do-yun stood there, blood on his shirt, but alive. Yeonwoo was behind him, equally disheveled, but unharmed. It's over. Do-yun's voice was rough. They're gone. All of them. All of them. And I sent Min Dae-ho a message he won't forget. Yvonne didn't ask what that message entailed. She focused on Julian, on keeping him calm. Do-yun reached for them, pulling both into his arms. I'm sorry you had to experience this. Are you okay? Yvonne's hands moved over him, checking for injuries. I'm fine. A few scratches. He cupped her face. But this ends now, tonight. I'm finishing this with Min Dae-ho, once and for all. What are you going to do? What I should have done years ago. I'm going to end him. Do-yun, Yvonne. He sent armed men into my home, into the place where my son sleeps. There's no coming back from that. He pressed a fierce kiss to her forehead, then Julian's. Yeonwoo will stay with you. I'll be back by morning. Dad? Julian's small voice stopped him. Please be careful. Do-yun knelt down. I will be. And Julian? I'm doing this to protect you and your mama, so we can have a normal life, do you understand? Julian nodded solemnly. You're keeping us safe. Always, son. Always. The hours after Do-yun left were the longest of Yvonne's life. She sat in the living room, Julian finally asleep against her, while Yeonwoo stood sentinel. He'll be fine. Yeonwoo spoke without looking at her. I've been with Do-yun for 15 years. I've never seen him lose. There's a first time for everything. Not tonight. Do-yun has something to live for now, you and the boy. That makes him more dangerous than he's ever been. Dawn was breaking when Do-yun finally returned. He looked exhausted, haunted, but alive. Yvonne met him at the elevator. Is it done? It's done. He pulled her close, his grip almost desperate. Min Dae-ho won't be a threat anymore. Not to you, not to Julian, not to anyone. Did you? She couldn't finish. I did what needed to be done. He pulled back to look at her. Can you live with that? Knowing what I'm capable of? Yvonne thought about Julian sleeping peacefully, about the life they could have now, about the man standing before her. Yes, dangerous, yes, capable of violence, but also protective, loving, transformed. Yes, she said, I can live with it. Do-yun's shoulders sagged with relief. Thank God, because I don't know what I'd do if you left. You and Julian, you're everything. We're not going anywhere. You're stuck with us. Best thing that's ever happened to me. The next weeks passed in cautious peace. With Min Dae-ho gone and Lim dealt with, Do-yun's position was stronger than ever, but more importantly, their family was safe. Yvonne watched as Do-yun learned to be a father, teaching Julian to ride a bike, helping with homework, attending school events. He was patient, attentive, devoted. Julian blossomed. Evelyn's health improved dramatically. When she was discharged, Do-yun insisted she move into the building. You're family now, he told her simply. Family stays close. One evening, a month after the attack, Yvonne found Do-yun at the window, staring out at the city. She moved to his side. What you thinking about? How I almost lost this. How 7 years ago, I had one perfect night with you, and thought it was all I'd ever have. He turned to her. Now I have you, Julian, a family. It doesn't feel real sometimes. It's real. We're real. Marry me. Yvonne's breath caught. What? Marry me, Yvonne. His hands framed her face. I know it's fast. I know we're still figuring things out, but I've loved you since that first night, and now that I have you back, I never want to let you go. Do-Yun, you don't have to answer now. Just know that I'm serious. I want you to be my wife. I want Julian to have both his parents together, committed. Yvonne felt tears streaming down her face. You really want this? The domestic life? The school plays? The PTA meetings? I want everything with you. Every boring, beautiful moment. Then yes. Yes, I'll marry you. Do-Yun's kiss was deep, claiming, filled with 7 years of longing, finally satisfied. When they broke apart, he rested his forehead against hers. I love you, Yvonne Martinez. I've loved you from the moment you looked at me like I was human, and I'll love you until my last breath. I love you too, even though you're bossy and overprotective and way too intense. Only for you, he grinned. Only for you. They told Julian the next morning. His reaction was to jump up and down, screaming, yes, 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 before launching himself at them both. Does this mean you're getting married like in the movies? Exactly like that, Do-Yun confirmed. Can I be in the wedding? You're the most important part, Yvonne assured him. Julian's face lit up. This is the best day ever. As Yvonne watched her son and the man she loved, both grinning at each other, she felt a peace she'd never known. Yes, Do-Yun's world was dangerous. Yes, there would be challenges, but they would face them together, as a family. The woman who'd run away 7 years ago, terrified and pregnant, was gone. In her place was someone stronger, someone who'd learned that love was worth fighting for, that family was worth protecting, and that sometimes the most dangerous men made the best fathers. Years had passed since that tumultuous time when everything changed. The house Do-Yun bought them was exactly what he'd promised, a beautiful home in a quiet neighborhood where Julian could ride his bike and play without bodyguards shadowing him. Julian had grown into a confident teenager, tall like his father, with the same intense eyes and sharp mind. He knew about his father's past, understood the complexity of the world he came from, but he'd been raised with love, stability, and the knowledge that he was protected absolutely. Yvonne had finished nursing school, graduating at the top of her class. She now ran a clinic that Do-Yun had funded, providing healthcare to underserved communities. It was her passion, and Do-Yun supported it completely. Do-Yun himself had slowly transitioned his empire into more legitimate channels. He still had influence, still commanded respect, but the dangerous edges had been dulled, redirected, transformed. On a crisp autumn evening, the family gathered for dinner. Yvonne, Do-Yun, Julian, and Evelyn, who at 75 was still sharp, cancer-free for years. Dad, Julian said, I got accepted to MIT. Do-Yun set down his fork. Julian, that's incredible. Congratulations, son. There's more. They offered me a full scholarship for aerospace engineering. Your dream, Yvonne breathed. Baby, I'm so proud of you. I couldn't have done it without you both. Julian's voice was thick with emotion. Mom, you worked so hard to give me everything. Dad, you showed me what it means to be strong, to protect what matters. You already make us proud, Do-Yun said, his voice rough. Every single day, son. After dinner, as Julian and Evelyn were in the living room, Do-Yun pulled Yvonne into the kitchen, wrapping his arms around her from behind. We did good, he murmured against her hair. Look at him. He's going to change the world. He's going to be amazing, just like his father. I'm nothing special. You're everything. She turned in his arms. You're the man who searched for me for 7 years, the man who learned to be a father overnight, the man who gave up his fortress for a house with a white picket fence. Best trade I ever made. He kissed her softly. You know what I realized the other day? What? It's been exactly 14 years since the night we met. 14 years since the bartender with the beautiful smile looked at me like I was worth something. His hand cupped her face. You saved me that night, Yvonne. Long before Julian, long before any of this, you saved me. We saved each other. She kissed him back. And we'll keep saving each other. That's what family does. From the living room came Julian's laughter at something Evelyn said. The sound filled the house, warm and bright and perfect. Do-Yun looked toward the sound, then back at Yvonne. I love our life. Me too. Even with all the drama and danger and chaos we went through. Especially because of that. It made us who we are. Who we are, Yvonne echoed. A family. The best kind of family. the kind that fights for each other, protects each other, loves each other through everything. Later that night, as they lay in bed, Yvonne's head on Do-Yoon's chest, she thought about the journey that had brought them here. 7 years of running, 7 years of searching, and then a collision that had changed everything. She'd come back to Seattle desperate and alone, with a son who was a perfect copy of the man she'd run from. She'd expected judgment, maybe anger, definitely complications. What she'd found was love. Fierce, protective, all-consuming love. The kind of love that transformed dangerous men into devoted fathers. The kind of love that turned two broken people into a whole family. What you thinking about? Do-Yoon's voice was sleepy, content. That I'm glad I came back. That I'm glad you never stopped looking. I couldn't stop. You were it for me, Yvonne. From that first night, you've always been it. And you're it for me. My dangerous, impossible, wonderful man. Yours, he confirmed. Always yours. Just like you're mine. Always, she agreed. And as they drifted to sleep, wrapped in each other's arms, the house quiet around them, Yvonne knew that despite everything, the fear, the danger, the impossible odds, they'd found their happy ending. The black woman who'd returned after 7 years, not alone but with a perfect copy of the Korean mafia boss, had come home. And in doing so, she'd given them all, herself, Julian and Do-Yoon, exactly what they needed. A family, a future, a love that would last forever.